The king continued, "The light of self-knowledge alone illumines all experiences. It shines by its own light. What is the light by which one sees or knows? If all the lights in the world from the sun onwards become inert, only the inner light, this inner light appears to be outside and to illumine external objects. The other sources of light are indeed non-different from the darkness of ignorance, and only appear to shine, though there is no essential difference between fog and cloud, both of which veil objects. It is often seen that fog seems to radiate light, while cloud seems to obscure it. The inner light of consciousness shines forever within and without, day and night, mysteriously. It illumines the effects of ignorance without removing the darkness of ignorance. Just as the ever-luminous sun reveals its real nature with the help of night and day, even so the light of the self reveals its real nature by revealing both consciousness and ignorance." This is quite a profound passage. It's the light of consciousness, and it's being contrasted or compared with the light from sources of light like fire or the sun. The light of consciousness we could just describe as this sensation or this feeling or that something is going on. Something is going on. And the light of consciousness is what allows us to know that something is going on. And that's what's called the inner light. It's this inner light which allows us to be aware of objects. It's what in its own way illumines external objects. And we've got this interesting contrast between fog and cloud. There's no essential difference between them. They both obscure objects, but fog seems to radiate light. And it seems that this is being compared with consciousness. Consciousness both obscures and illumines. Consciousness has its own inbuilt obscuration, which is called the cognitive process, or Maya. And why should this be? Is this not a bit awkward? Well, just as the ever-luminous sun, the sun's always luminous, but it reveals its real nature with the help of night and day. Without this aspect of consciousness, there wouldn't be the knowing. Even so, the light of the self reveals its real nature by revealing both consciousness and ignorance. In other words, we only really become aware when we step out of the darkness, step out of ignorance, and then consciousness can be realized more completely. Within the atomic space of consciousness there exist all the experiences. Even as within a drop of honey there are the subtle essences of flowers, leaves and fruits. Again, be careful with phrases like atomic space. It makes it sound like something out of physics. It's the atomic space of consciousness. It's fundamental. It's extremely subtle, and it's unbreakable. Everything, all potentiality resides in consciousness, in this atomic space of consciousness. From that consciousness all experiences expand, for the experiencing is the sole experiencer, which is consciousness. It's only consciousness which ever experiences anything, which ever does anything. Whatever may be the particular description of the experiences, they are all encompassed in the one experiencing of consciousness. Indeed, this infinite consciousness alone is all this, and all the hands and eyes are its own. Though being extremely subtle, it has no limbs. In the twinkling of an eye, this infinite consciousness experiences an epoch within itself, even as in the course of a brief dream one experiences youth and old age and even death. All these objects which appear in consciousness are indeed non-different from consciousness, even as a sculpture carved of stone is nothing but stone. Just as the whole tree with all its future ramifications is in the seed, the entire universe of the past, the present and the future is contained in the atom of infinite consciousness. Therefore, though the self is neither the doer of actions nor the experiencer of experiences, it is the doer of all actions and the experiencer of all experiences. There is nothing apart from it. Within the atom of infinite consciousness, the doership and the experiencer are inherent. The world, however, has never really been created, nor does it disappear. It is regarded as unreal only from the relative point of view. From the absolute point of view, it is non-different from the infinite consciousness. It's beyond the cognitive knife of reality and non-reality.